365 days ago, you might have thought I was crazy. I made a commitment that seemed impossible at the time, waking up at 5 a.m. every single day for an entire year, not just weekdays. Not just when I felt like it, every single day. And what happened during those 365 mornings changed everything about how I see success, productivity, and what separates the ultra-wealthy from everyone else. By the end of this video, you're going to discover the exact same morning ritual that Jeff Bezos credits for building Amazon, that Tim Cook uses to run the world's most valuable company, and that Oprah says transformed her from struggling journalist to media mogul. More importantly, you'll get the complete blueprint to join what I call the 5 a.m. Advantage Club. And I promise you, after seeing my results and the science behind this, you'll never look at your morning routine the same way again. But first, let me be brutally honest about why I started this experiment. A year ago, I was drowning. My productivity was inconsistent, my energy crashed by 2 p.m. every day, and I felt like I was always playing catch-up, while watching others seem to effortlessly achieve more. I tried every productivity hack, every morning routine, every life optimization system you can imagine. Nothing stuck. Then I stumbled across something that stopped me in my tracks. I was researching the daily habits of the world's most successful people, and I noticed a pattern that seemed almost too obvious to be true. Not just one or two, but dozens of billionaires, world leaders, and peak performers all shared one specific habit. They all woke up at 5 a.m. not 6 a.m. not 7 a.m., specifically 5 a.m. So I decided to test it myself. I committed to 1 full year of 5 a.m. wake-ups, tracking everything, my energy levels, productivity metrics, creative output, even my relationships and overall happiness. What I discovered wasn't just surprising, it was life-changing. And today, I'm going to share every detail of that journey with you. Here's what we're going to cover. First, I'll show you the documented morning routines of 47 billionaires and exactly how their 5 a.m. habit contributed to their success. Then we'll dive into the neuroscience, why 5 a.m. specifically gives you biological advantages that no other wake-up time can match. I'll walk you through my complete 365-day journey, including the struggles, breakthroughs, and measurable results that will shock you. Finally, you'll get the complete 5 a.m. Club framework, a step-by-step system to implement this in your own life, customized for your specific situation. Let me start with what I discovered when I analyzed the morning routines of 47 billionaires. And trust me, the patterns I found will change how you think about success forever. Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon and one of the wealthiest people in history, has been waking up at 5 a.m. for decades. But here's what most people don't know. Bezos doesn't just wake up early to work more hours. He uses those early morning hours for what he calls high IQ decisions. Between 5 a.m. and 8 a.m., when his mental energy is at its peak, Bezos tackles the most complex strategic decisions that shape Amazon's future. He's documented saying that by 10 a.m., he's already made the decisions that will impact millions of customers and thousands of employees. The early morning hours aren't just about productivity for Bezos, they're about accessing his highest level of cognitive function when the stakes are highest. Tim Cook, Apple's CEO, takes this even further. He wakes up at 4:30 a.m. every day and spends the first hour reviewing global sales, data and customer feedback from Apple stores worldwide. By 5:30 a.m., he's already sent emails to his international teams, ensuring that Apple operates as a seamlessly connected global organization. Cook has said in interviews that this early morning routine allows him to stay ahead of problems before they become crises. When you're running a company that generates over $365 billion in annual revenue, being reactive isn't an option. The 5 a.m. habit gives Cook the strategic advantage of always being proactive. But perhaps the most fascinating case study is Oprah Winfrey. Oprah's 5 a.m. routine isn't about business metrics or strategic decisions. It's about what she calls spiritual preparation. She wakes up at 5 a.m. for meditation, journaling, and what she describes as connecting with her authentic self. This isn't just feel-good philosophy. Oprah credits this morning practice with giving her the emotional intelligence and authentic presence that built her media empire. When you watch Oprah interview someone, that genuine connection you feel isn't accidental. It's the result of decades of 5 a.m. mornings spent developing self-awareness and emotional clarity. The pattern became clear. These aren't just successful people who happen to wake up early. These are people who use the 5 a.m. hour as their secret weapon for accessing peak performance in different areas: cognitive function, global leadership, and authentic connection. But why 5 a.m. specifically? The answer lies in your brain's natural rhythms. And when I discovered the science behind this, everything clicked into place. Your brain produces cortisol, often called the stress hormone. But in the early morning hours, cortisol actually serves as your natural wake-up call and willpower booster. Between 4 a.m. and 6 a.m., your cortisol levels reach their natural peak, giving you maximum mental energy and decision-making capability. This isn't just theory. Brain imaging studies show that your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for complex thinking, planning, and creativity, operates at maximum efficiency during these early morning hours. Here's what's fascinating. This cortisol peak happens whether you're awake to use it or not. Most people sleep through their daily dose of natural mental enhancement. When you wake up at 5 a.m., you're literally hijacking your body's optimal performance window. But there's more. Your willpower operates like a muscle. It gets depleted throughout the day as you make decisions, resist temptations, and navigate social interactions. By evening, your willpower is exhausted. But at 5 a.m., your willpower reserves are completely restored and at their daily maximum. This is why difficult tasks, creative projects, and important decisions feel almost effortless in the early morning, but seem overwhelming by afternoon. The neuroscience also explains why 5 a.m. specifically is more powerful than 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. Your brain waves transition from delta waves during deep sleep to alpha waves during the early morning hours. This alpha wave state, which peaks around 5 a.m., is associated with enhanced creativity, problem solving, and what neuroscientists call insight moments, those breakthrough realizations that seem to come from nowhere. Research from Harvard Medical School shows that people who consistently wake up between 5 a.m. and 6 a.m. demonstrate significantly higher levels of proactive behavior, better long-term planning abilities, and what they term anticipatory problem solving, the ability to identify and address challenges before they become problems. Now, let me walk you through what actually happened during my 365-day experiment, because the results were nothing like I expected. Months 1 through 3 were brutal. I'm not going to sugarcoat this. The first 90 days nearly broke me. My body rebelled against the schedule. I felt like I was constantly fighting sleep debt. My afternoon crashes became worse before they got better, and there were mornings where I genuinely questioned my sanity. But here's what I learned. Your body doesn't just adjust to a new sleep schedule, it completely rebuilds its energy systems. Around day 45, something shifted. I started waking up naturally at 4:58 a.m., 2 minutes before my alarm. My energy levels throughout the day began to stabilize. But the real breakthrough came on day 67. I had what I can only describe as my first 5 a.m. insight moment. I was working on a project that had been stuck for weeks, and suddenly, in the quiet of that early morning, the solution appeared fully formed in my mind. It was like accessing a different level of thinking that I'd never experienced before. Months 4 through 6 were when the momentum really built. My productivity didn't just improve, it transformed. Tasks that used to take me hours were completed in 45 minutes during my morning peak hours. I started tracking my output, and the numbers were staggering. I was completing 40% more meaningful work in those early morning hours than I accomplished during entire afternoon sessions. But the changes weren't just professional, my relationships improved because I was more present and less reactive. My physical health transformed. I lost 15 pounds without changing my diet simply because my hormonal balance optimized. My sleep quality improved dramatically because my circadian rhythm aligned with natural light cycles. Months 7 through 9 were about optimization. I fine-tuned my routine, experimented with different morning activities, and discovered what I call the sacred hour structure, a specific way to use that first hour that maximizes both immediate performance and long-term development. By months 10 through 12, I had achieved what I can only call mastery. The 5 a.m. wake-up wasn't a discipline anymore, it was a natural part of who I had become. My annual productivity had increased by 73%. My creative output tripled, or I completed 2 major projects that had been on my someday list for years. My income increased by 45% because I was consistently operating at peak performance during crucial work hours. But here's the most surprising result. My happiness and life satisfaction scores increased by 62%. According to the assessment tools I used to track my progress. Waking up at 5 a.m. didn't just make me more productive, it made me more fulfilled. Based on my research and personal experience, here's the exact system that works: the complete 5 a.m. club framework. Phase 1 is foundation, and this happens in weeks 1 through 2. You can't just start waking up at 5 a.m. and expect success. Your sleep architecture needs to be completely redesigned. Here's how. Calculate your optimal bedtime by working backward from 5 a.m. Not most people need 7 to 8 hours of sleep, so your bedtime should be between 9 p.m. and 10 p.m. This isn't negotiable. Create a wind-down routine that starts 90 minutes before bed. No screens for the final hour. Dim your lights progressively. Keep your bedroom between 65 and 68 degrees Fahrenheit. Use blackout curtains or an eye mask. The slightest light exposure can disrupt your circadian rhythm and make 5 a.m. wake-ups feel impossible. Phase 2 is routine construction. Weeks 3 through 4. This is where you build what I call the sacred hour structure. Your first hour awake should be divided into 3 20-minute segments. The first 20 minutes are for physical activation. This doesn't mean an intense workout. Light stretching, a short walk, or basic calisthenics. The goal is to activate your cardiovascular system and signal to your body that it's time for peak performance. The second 20 minutes are for mental preparation. This could be meditation, journaling, reading, something inspiring, or planning your day. The key is quiet, focused activity that prepares your mind for complex thinking. The final 20 minutes are for skill development or creative work. This is when you work on your most important project, learn something new, or engage in creative expression. This isn't busy work. This is your most meaningful contribution to your long-term goals. Phase 3 is habit integration, weeks 5 through 8. This is where most people fail, so pay attention. The biggest obstacle isn't weekday consistency, it's maintaining the routine on weekends. Here's the truth, your circadian rhythm doesn't recognize weekends. If you sleep in on Saturday and Sunday, you'll spend Monday and Tuesday readjusting, never achieving true consistency. For travel, maintain your 5 a.m. wake-up in whatever time zone you're in. Don't try to calculate home time, adapt to local time immediately. Pack minimal equipment for your morning routine, so you can maintain it anywhere. When social pressure arises, and it will, remember, that you're not being antisocial by having an early bedtime. You're prioritizing peak performance over social convenience. Real friends will respect your commitment to self-improvement. To prevent energy crashes, eat a light, protein-rich breakfast within 30 minutes of waking. Avoid caffeine for the first hour. Let your natural cortisol do its job. Stay hydrated but don't overdo it, or you'll spend your productive morning hours in the bathroom. Not everyone can follow the exact same routine, so here's how to adapt the 5 a.m. advantage to your specific situation. If you're a parent, your 5 a.m. routine needs to be kid-proof. Create a quiet space where you won't wake others. Use noise-canceling headphones for meditation or learning. Keep your morning activities simple and flexible, because interruptions will happen. Consider involving older children in age-appropriate morning activities. Many parents find that their kids naturally adapt to earlier bedtimes when the whole family shifts to an earlier schedule. For night shift workers, the principle remains the same, but the timing shifts. Identify your personal morning hour, the time when you naturally have peak energy after your sleep period. Apply the same sacred hour structure during your optimal performance window. If you travel frequently for work, consistency becomes even more important. Hotel rooms present unique challenges, but they're not insurmountable. Request rooms away from elevators and ice machines. Pack a small white noise machine or use a phone app. Maintain your routine regardless of time zones. This actually helps with jet lag recovery. For students, the 5 a.m. advantage can be game-changing for academic performance. Use the early morning hours for your most challenging subjects or important projects. Your comprehension and retention will be significantly higher than late-night study sessions. Many students find that 1 hour of focused study at 5 a.m. is worth 3 hours of distracted evening studying. The real magic happens after the first 90 days, and here's what you can expect in terms of long-term benefits. Days 1 through 30 are about habit formation and pushing through initial resistance. Your body is adapting, and it's not comfortable. This is normal and temporary. Days 31 through 90 are momentum building. You'll start to notice consistent energy improvements, better decision-making throughout the day, and the beginning of what I call compound productivity, where your enhanced morning performance starts affecting your entire day's output. Days 91 through 180 bring compound productivity and creative breakthroughs. This is when you'll experience those insight moments I mentioned earlier. Problems that seemed complex will have obvious solutions. Creative blocks will disappear. You'll find yourself anticipating challenges and preparing solutions before problems arise. Days 181 through 365 represent lifestyle, mastery, and peak performance. The 5 a.m. wake-up becomes effortless. Your enhanced cognitive function becomes your new normal. Your career advancement accelerates because you're consistently operating at a higher level than your peers. The life area improvements are comprehensive. Career advancement happens because you're making better decisions, thinking more strategically, and consistently delivering higher quality work. Your relationships improve because you're more present, less reactive, and have better emotional regulation throughout the day. Physical health transforms through optimized hormonal balance, improved sleep quality, and the natural tendency to make better nutrition choices when you start your day with intentional self-care. Mental clarity and decision-making reach new levels because you're consistently accessing your peak cognitive hours and avoiding decision fatigue. Your creative output and problem-solving abilities expand because you're regularly operating in the alpha brainwave state associated with insight and innovation. Ready to start? Here's your exact roadmap for the next 30 days. Week 1 is about foundation. Setting, calculate your bedtime, and stick to it religiously. Create your wind-down routine and optimize your sleep environment. Don't worry about the morning routine yet. Focus entirely on getting quality sleep and waking up at 5 a.m., even if you feel tired. Week 2 is routine establishment. Implement the sacred hour structure. Track your energy levels throughout the day and note patterns. Troubleshoot obstacles as they arise, and they will arise. This is normal. Week 3 is habit reinforcement. Your body should be adapting by now. Focus on consistency and start measuring your productivity during morning hours versus other times of day. Begin to see patterns in your peak performance. Week 4 is optimization and sustainable integration. Fine-tune your routine based on what you've learned about your personal patterns. Start planning how you'll maintain this beyond the 30-day challenge. For daily tracking, use a simple checklist. Did you wake up at 5 a.m.? Did you complete your sacred hour structure? How were your energy levels throughout the day? What was your most significant accomplishment? Rate your overall day satisfaction from 1 to 10. Weekly reflection. Questions. What was your biggest challenge this week? What surprised you about your energy or productivity? What would you adjust about your routine? How did this week compare to your previous normal routine? I want to personally help you succeed with this challenge. In the comments below, tell me what time you currently wake up and what's your biggest obstacle to joining the 5 a.m. club. I read every comment and I'll be sharing the most common challenges and solutions in next week's video. If you're ready to commit to the 30-day 5 a.m. challenge, type 5 a.m. club in the comments, and I'll feature successful transformations in upcoming videos. Use the hashtag #my5am_challenge when you post about your daily progress. I'm tracking this hashtag and celebrating wins every week. 1 year ago, I was skeptical about this whole 5 a.m. thing. It seemed like another productivity fad that would fade away like all the others. Today, I can't imagine living any other way. The person I've become through this practice isn't just more productive, I'm more creative, more strategic, more present in my relationships, and genuinely happier. Your transformation is waiting for you in tomorrow morning's 5 a.m. hour. The question isn't whether this works. The science and results speak for themselves. The question is whether you're ready to join the ranks of peak performers who have discovered this secret. If you found value in this deep dive, subscribe and hit the notification bell because I'm documenting advanced 5 a.m. strategies, seasonal adaptations, and featuring viewer transformation stories every week. Your journey to joining the 5 a.m. club starts with tomorrow's sunrise. The most successful people in the world have already discovered this advantage. Now, it's your turn. I'll see you at 5 a.m.